Initially, when Travis Bagent made this statement about there being no arm wrestling fans at all, then he got a lot of backlash for that. And I would say deservingly so. He said that there is no such thing as an arm wrestling fan. It's a myth, it's a fiction. An arm wrestling fan does not exist in our sport. There are only arm wrestlers. And then, as expected, he kind of doubled down on that. He even told everyone that you should unsubscribe for me if you are an arm wrestling fan, or if you even think that there is anything like an arm wrestling fan. This time he has made another similar statement, and we'll analyze that. So, in one of the recent, or the most recent, Tell Me I'm the Greatest episode with Artem Tenenko, Travis said that there is no such thing as an arm wrestling fan. So what's the difference here? Why are we even talking about now? Because it's basically the same statement. But I would say Travis is a very smart person. Maybe he didn't like that he had to back off his initial statement, because now he has given a clarification for that. And the clarification is, you are an arm wrestling fan if you cannot arm wrestle, or if you try to arm wrestle but you know you are weak, you lost a bunch of matches, you cannot beat anyone, and then you have to settle as an arm wrestling fan. Now when you think about it, this statement is absolutely, utterly logical. I mean, that was my first thought as soon as I heard about it, because I took it upon myself, like, does it hurt my ego? Can i relate can i relate to this? And I started thinking about, man, if I was good enough to beat people up, I would be beating people up. And on the arm wrestling table, obviously, I would be calling out everyone left, right, and center. Who's there? Jaka, then Ray Willie. I'll be calling all of you guys out. I'll be putting all of your arms down to the pad if I was good enough to do that. Or laziness can also be a part. There still may be a few guys, maybe 20%, 30% in my chat who I can still beat, probably, hopefully. But then you get the point. When I was just starting this channel, so there was a coworker where I work. He was like, I was saying that I get asked this question many times. Why did I start this channel? Even now, the question has kind of stopped because it has been more than 4 years since the channel started, almost 5 years now. But there was this question frequently for 3 years. Why did I start this channel? And I never came up with any good answer, I guess. I think I had the honest answer, but it was around first or second year. My colleague he was like, I know why you started this channel. And he was like, I was like, why? Because you tried to go to an arm wrestling tournament 2019 and you got handled there. That's why you realized, I'm no good. I should start an arm wrestling channel. And I was like, Is it so? I don't think so. Do you think that's the case with me?" So, holiday snack fund. Thank you, Mark, with the awesome 37 dirham. Mark, and my favorite super chat. Thank you, brother. You are really, really awesome. I put a goal for today's live stream. So YouTube just started giving this, or maybe I did a live stream about a couple of months later. That's why I saw this goal. I saw this during the first stream as well. You can set a goal for super chats. So I set a goal for one super chat for around $1 or $2, I guess. And here we are, Mark, with more than $10-12. Thank you, brother. You are awesome. Travis, no brain Bajan. No, now I agree with him. How many of you agree with this statement of Travis Bajan, which we just discussed? Like, are you, first of all, let me ask you, just type yes if you're just an arm wrestling fan and not an arm wrestler. Like, I also fall into this category. I don't really arm wrestle. I guess you can call me an arm wrestling fan. So are you also from that category? Please let me know. Yes. So, Myron, did you try to arm wrestle once? Don't lie, be honest. Did you try it and you lost? Let's see if Travis Bajent's formula or his claim is right or not. Dr. Arm wrestling is not an arm wrestling. He didn't lose. I want to see Myron and Kick. I've made this font too small that I cannot even read. Let me read it on my phone. So it was not, everything was not showing up on the screen. So I put the I I put the screen with small fonts, and I can't even read anything now. Dr. Arm Wrestling, I arm wrestle regularly. So yeah, you would you call yourself an arm wrestler too then? I'm talking about those guys who don't arm wrestle right now, who consider themselves only an arm wrestling fan. And obviously, if you're watching a live stream, regular videos, I can understand. Sure. Shorts, obviously, I can understand anyone can watch. But if somebody is watching an arm wrestling live stream of just a guy speaking, then I have no doubt in my mind that that guy is an arm wrestling fan. Like for sure, he's an arm wrestling fan. So that's not even the question that you are an arm wrestling fan or not. The question is if you're just an arm wrestling fan and don't arm wrestle at all. Also, my neck and back are fucked up from heavy lifting. Okay. Okay. Did Myron answer? What was Myron's second comment? No, but I've always been interested in strength related sports. So you never really arm wrestled? Is Travis Bagent's theory failing here? What's going on? I think it should work in like on like at least 50% people. I guess so. I hope so. and his and then he tried to be a little extra nice, I would say, when he was saying that just arm wrestle somebody from your circle, from your group, maybe even from your family, beat people up, beat old sick people up, and get your w's, feel good, feel like an arm wrestler. So that was also a cool strategy. I guess Travis is delusional. I think Travis is a pretty smart guy about most of the things that we talk here. I lost all my arm wrestling strength after the exam and built it back, but never gave up. Okay, win the arm wrestling. Then we have Myron, neck and back. Yeah, not from lifting, but my body is all messed up too. Triple A saying arm wrestling isn't as friendly to people who jump between bandwagons based on the hype around an athlete. Those people are more like casuals, which I say are below true fans. I don't arm wrestle because I don't have training partners. That's a good comment too. I'm also like someone who wouldn't like to travel 5 kilometers 10 kilometers for an arm wrestling practice. I'm that lazy. But if somebody can show up at my house, trust me, I can arm wrestle, I can practice table time every single day. Like I would absolutely love to do that. But when it comes to traveling, I don't like to travel even like 10, 15, 20 minutes. I can arm wrestle people at the bar all the time. You'd be surprised at how much stronger you are on Jack Daniels. I'll try that. I'll try that. Last time I arm wrestled was in high school. Found the sport when Levan versus Devon 1 happened. I used to arm wrestle all the time on the table. But I was thinking that around that time, later I realized that I didn't have any kind of elbow pain or anything. Maybe because I didn't get competition, but I was like almost every day trying to find someone to arm wrestle. But yeah, but they were like very weak compared to me, like all of them, at least on the right left, and on the right, yeah, few couple of guys who can stop stop me for like 10, 20, 30 seconds. There were guys like that too. Like what would you define as a fan? If watching the events but I don't train, then I am a fan. Loft. So did you ever arm wrestle in the last couple, since how long have you been a fan, and when was the last time you arm wrestled someone? And do you believe that you are strong at arm wrestling, good at arm wrestling? I need to take the train 2 hours travel to go to my club, but only on Sundays. I cannot do that, man. I cannot do that. I'll ask someone. I'll put it in the armbed group that I used to be in. I'm still in there, I guess. I haven't seen any messages there for like couple of years, I guess. I'll ask someone if they can come to my house or not. Find a tire shop, a shop that changes tires, teach those guys how to arm wrestle and feel their strength. Yeah, I guess those guys can beat me. I've been following arm wrestling as a sport. So let's talk further on this topic about Travis Bagent's recent argument, which he presented about there being no such thing as an arm wrestling fan, because the sport is, should I say, it's highly accessible, because somebody just mentioned in the comment section there is nobody around him, and I also mentioned the same thing. I don't like to travel. So is it highly accessible? Well, up to a certain level. But if you get strong, like That level of strength is kind of a curse if you're someone like me who don't travel. Like for 99% of people who don't arm wrestle, I'm going to be too strong for them. And for 99% of people who actually arm wrestle, they are going to be too strong for me. So I'm stuck somewhere in between. I don't like to travel to these strong guys, and I don't like to beat up on these weaker guys. So here I am stuck in somewhere middle. But if we take a look at cricket, the second most famous sport in the world after football, I am yet to meet a fan. Maybe there are now, but back in the days when I used to play cricket and watch cricket, there was no one who never played cricket. Maybe in this generation, obviously, there must be many people who have never played cricket. But back in the days, even then, there were like billion, not if not a billion, then at least like 700-800 million cricket fans in India, and everyone had played cricket. Literally everyone. You can find the equipment, the basic equipment, at least a cricket bat and a ball, in everyone's house. So everyone had played that sport, and maybe they realized that they were not good, they cannot pursue it further. Maybe some played it only for fun, but even those fun games were actually competitive. Everybody wanted to and tried to win there. So those guys were fans. They actually played. We all played. Like if somebody is from India, they'll let you know the answer if they've played cricket or not is 100% going to be yes, even if they are not a fan of it anymore. Like in my case, are you good at cricket? Maybe if you ask me this question more than a decade ago, I would have said yes. Not right now. Not right now. So that theory that Travis presented, it kind of fits well, or used to fit well, as far as my understanding about cricket fans. Everybody had played cricket. They tried to be competitive, at least in their friend circle. Not all of them tried to pursue it as a career, like for me and for most of the other fans too, but they all played it. And if somebody was so good, like so good that he was untouchable in that game, maybe I'm guessing that, yeah, guys would have pushed him further. He would have tried to pursue it as a career. But since we were not that good, maybe that's why we settled only as fans. So here also, Travis Bagent's theory is working. What are the famous sports in your country? I want to do some brainstorming today. Like, does this logic fit in your country's sport too? Like the fans, do they play that sport as well, or is there a sport where, when you actually never play, like a basketball, NBA, let's say, for the Americans? And like, are you can you be an hardcore NBA fan if you never tried to play competitively? And maybe then you realize that you're not as good, maybe you're not as tall, your jump is not that high, your aim is not that good. That's why you settled as a fan. See, Travis, if you're watching this, I'm trying to find all the ways in which I can support your argument, but so far we're kind of 60-40 in your favor, I would say. Me to get back into it, so I did mark. I discovered table arm wrestling in 2000. Wow, competed till 2002. Had an injury on my right wrist. Okay, no more arm wrestling till meeting MMT in 2021. Okay, he told me to get back into it, so I did. I enjoy the smaller weight categories more than super heavyweight because technique is so much important these days. Even in the super heavyweight, man, like Morozov, how is he going to beat Vitali without technique? Like he has to do something weird, which none of us are expecting. But that weird still won't work against Vitali. So yeah, maybe you can say it is about strength. It is about strength. And individuals, because the range of athletes in terms of weight and strength can be really wide. Like we can have this shape of Denis Siplankov, who is not in top 10, and then we can have Levan Saginashvili, and both are recognized super heavyweight arm wrestlers, so the gap can be huge, but not so much in the weight categories. Also, there are more people around that weight. There are not enough super heavyweights in the world, and there are many 75, 80 kg guys in the world. That's why the talent pool that you can find arm wrestlers from is also going to be bigger in those weight categories. Because of arm wrestling, Pradeep, my right wrist is fucked up. I can't pronate now, and this is because I learned Devon pronation technique. It was working very well to the strong guys. Okay, so it's recent. It's kind of recent, I guess. But I got injured because of doing multiple times, and I'm not able to pronate anymore. I have now MRI for this. Okay, that's sad, brother. If you are a hardcore fan, you should have tried to do that sport at least once. Martin Daniel, I agree. And then we lost. And then we stopped. Like if we kept like another question. If we another question. I'm being honest here. I won't even hide. I'm really trying to support Travis Bajent's argument here. So if for any sports, for example, let's talk about arm wrestling since this is an arm wrestling channel. We arm wrestled once, we didn't lose. We arm wrestled again, we didn't lose. So if we never really lost, let's say if we even attended a tournament, a novice tournament, not every country have different categories according to the level of arm wrestlers. Like in India, everyone has the same category. But let's say you entered a novice tournament and you won there too. So would you stop? Like nobody would stop until they lose. So everybody who stopped arm wrestling at some point, either it was a serious injury, but even if there was an injury during an actual match, you kind of lost that match. Most likely, you lost that match. There can be an injury when you win too. Afterwards, you realize you can get injured during training too. That's a separate case. But somebody who didn't get injured and who didn't lose, that guy is most likely still going. Like, why would he quit? I did 91 pounds on the pronation lift. Mario man, that's good. Not good. I can also do that. Can I? No, not really. I can do up to 39, I guess. 39 kilos. Is that 90? That's not 90 pounds. With strict form. Horseshoes and hand grenades. What's that about? What's horseshoes, Paul? Horseshoe. It was some kind of power up or some kind of upgrade in one of the games which I've played. Man, there was some game where horseshoes were, I guess, related to some kind of upgrade. We have horseshoe tournaments here pretty often. Okay, someone was asking about horseshoes. Bro, who is this guy? India say hai, he needs to be put on timeout for 30 minutes. Let me go back to some of the comments. I am Dennis fan. You can ask from who. Glad to see Pradeep agrees. James M. I don't know. I got into arm wrestling during the pandemic where I had no one to arm wrestle with, and I still became a fan. Yes, yes. That's not the point. That's not the point. You can become a fan, but you never tried arm wrestling before that. That's interesting. I arm wrestle regularly. These people are lying. James was saying few minutes ago. Travis wasn't saying anything different. Oh, geez, saying you can just be a fan or both, an arm wrestler and a fan. Because as the sport grows big, then I can understand like new generation and they just suddenly saw this as a sport. They never realized they can actually compete here or try it with their friends, and then maybe they got interested into arm wrestling. But still, those people are going to be really few. Like a person who can get interested by a strength sport, like arm wrestling is one of the most basic strength tests. He must have tried that at least some point in his life. But I still wouldn't call it as a competition. So that argument would not satisfy the argument which Travis was making about that. I can only do 60 pounds on riser lift. Okay, not a problem. That's cool too. So, do we have anything more to discuss? Just give me some different point of views and opinions about this subject, guys. I'm waiting to read one. Losing hurts my ego, makes me try harder. Yep, that's a cool philosophy. I agree with that. If we are an arm wrestling fan, we will sure arm wrestle like them. Try their moves for sure. Let's say Dennis fan, ask him if he tries to arm wrestle like him or not for sure. If you are interesting. For India, there is not high arm wrestling level, if you are really dedicated about, you can become number one in India. There has been only one guy who's number one for a long time. If you're talking about weight categories, yeah, they've been changing frequently. Hey Pradeep, if you can share your address, I can come down for a table practice on 11th, 12th February. Let me know how can I contact you. Message me on Instagram, same arm wrestling news. 18 years ago when I was in school, Shashank. 18 years ago seems like a huge time. When I read 18 years old, I was like, man, this is this dude a 40-year-old? And then I suddenly realized I was also in school, what, 12, 13 years ago. Pradeep, do you have broadcasting training? I'm curious. Broadcasting training? No, no. Like training about broadcasting events? Is that what you're talking about, or just broadcasting arm wrestling training? I'm hoping the you're talking about the first one. What about Pradeep versus Engin? I'll I'll do something which nobody can do. I'll hook Engin. Anyone Cletus fan here? What's that? Pradeep, you are a hook guy or a top roll guy. So, top roll guy because of my shoulder, hook guy because of my shoulder. It still works. Don't know. In school, I used to top roll like all the time. And now somehow something happened. All of the pronation in this arm is gone. Like I cannot pronate through anything. Rickard Borman versus Don Underwood. I was always saying as soon as I heard that match that this is going to be a mismatch. It's not a match that you should have made. Like they should have asked me before setting up that match. Pradeep, what's your max pronation lift? 38 to 40 kilos. Who do you think most beautiful female arm wrestler? There are many, but not really. Like there are a bunch of 8 out of tens. Nothing beyond that in arm wrestling that I've seen so far. 8 out of tens maybe. People who type very impulsively on the internet about athletes and the sport, and the end of the day cannot be called true fans because the majority haven't been on the table for a longer time. Yes, for cricket, like as I said, there are probably, if we talk about, let's say the population of boys, if there are men, if there are, let's say, I don't know, 740 million men in India, then out of those 740, I guess 500 million have played cricket at some point in their life. I'm quite sure about that. Maybe if the new generation, as I said, I'm not aware of the situation now. Maybe if the new generation stopped playing, the guys who were born in like last 10, 15 years, then I cannot be sure. But that was for sure the truth about 10, 15 years ago. Do you think Brian Shaw would have done better if he was trained by Levan than Devon? Levan, probably, probably. Neil was saying that he would like to train Brian Shaw. I think I've seen how Neil trained Eddie Hall, and maybe Brian Shaw would have, not maybe, he would have definitely done better if he wasn't trained. I absolutely, I wouldn't want to say hate, but I don't like the way Devon Laird trains anyone. There is one guy who I think can benefit the most in the world with Devon Laird's training, and I don't think there is anyone who will get as much benefited as that guy with Devon Laird's training, and that is Denis Siplankov. When I look at Dennis, when I see him arm wrestle, I was like, man, if Dennis practiced with, if Dennis just hired Devon as an arm wrestling coach, I would say he is the one who can gain most out of that. Like for some reason, the way he's arm wrestling right now, the way he takes lower grips, and Devon is the opposite of that. The way he also likes to open up, trying to keep his pronation. Devon also does that, or used to do that when he was not strong enough to stay in center. Devon is the perfect coach for Denis Siplankov. Like he should keep his differences aside and just ask Devon, bro, coach me. I want to beat Hermes Gasparini. That's what Dennis should be doing. Mario Man was hidden. What was Mario Man saying, man? Yo, Mark, don't be on a banning spree. Okay, Deleting is still okay, but don't ban anyone. I still want to see Travis versus Dennis on the left. I don't want to see that. Brian won. Both of them are kind of washed up now. Brian won 4-2. It's crazy for me to how folks think. Try and take anything away from him. Take that away from him. No, nobody's taking that away from him. It was that he himself said he would be surprised if Eddie could do much against him. Hi Pradeep, I'm 6'3", 112 kilos. I defeat everyone in my local arm wrestling clubs. How can I progress now on compete? Just a YouTuber, compete. That's the only thing. Pradeep demoted me and it took the wrench. Is that so? I don't think I did that. If match was happened on if match happened on right, Dennis versus Devon, I think Devon is still a favorite. In this form, he's the favorite. Pradeep, are there any strongmen, powerlifters, or combat athletes in India interested in arm wrestling? Not that I know of. In fact, I don't really know many strongmen guys. The current female arm wrestling champion of India, Yogesh Chaudhary, she came from a strong woman background. I think so. Maybe there was not much competition, or maybe she is really that strong because she told me when I interviewed her on the Hindi channel, she told me that within like first or second year, she became the strongest woman in India, and then she tried arm wrestling, powerlifting. She was powerlifting as well. She was the best there too, and then she tried arm wrestling within the first year. She never lost. She became the arm wrestling champion of India. And last year she competed in Asian Arm Wrestling Cup as well. So she won left Asian Arm Wrestling champion. We cannot really say Asian Arm Wrestling champion because Asian Arm Wrestling Cup is not the same as the Asian Arm Wrestling Championship. The level is below that. But Kazakhstan was there. So Kazakhstan whole team was there. Most of the best guys, I would assume. Then she became the right-handed senior champion, and since she's like 45 years old, she became the masters champion, left masters champion, right? So she came with 4 gold medals in Asian Cup. So she came from strongman competition. Broadcasting is the transmission of audio, video, or data to large audiences like news or radio. If you have no training or education, then you have an impressive natural ability to communicate. No, I don't have any training. In fact, I was so shy in school. If the teacher asked me to just stand up and like just give an introduction about yourself, I would like start shaking. That's who I was in school. I don't know if he can see my messages or not. Yes, I can see your messages, brother. Great Kali, man. People think that I'm delusional, but Great Kali, if that like if his height wasn't creating a problem for him, I know those don't tell me that those WWE matches are fake. I know that. Everybody knows that. But just see the way he's arm wrestling. Like he's a guy who's over 7 feet tall. Like even actual measurements, he's slightly over 7 feet tall. Some say that he's even 7'1". WWE built him as 7'3", but on any day he was 7 feet tall. So and then you see him like pronating, like just his wrist. Look at his wrist in those fake WWE matches. Like the pronation is going on there. So he was a natural top roller. And look at his size. He was billed as 420 pounds. So I would assume that on a good day, he must have been like at that time when he was in his peak, 2007, 8, 6. He could have been around 380 at least, real weight as well, maybe 390. Maybe if he bulked up even more, maybe even 400, who knows? But at least 380 pounds. And he had legs thinner than me. So 400, almost 400 pounds, all in upper body with chicken legs. When have we ever seen any guy like that? Ever? And just look at his upper body development. Wrist was thick, forearms were thick, and like you see veins in his forearms and veins in his chest, like running from here. He was lean too, and he had the top roll going on. So I was like, man, the great Kali could have been really good, really good in arm wrestling, but not for long. Not for long. He lost all of his muscle, and now he looks like a joke. Sadly. Everybody knows that Kali would have been an absolute monster if he had been introduced in arm wrestling as a sport. I got a rescue dog a couple of weeks ago. I don't like dogs, man. And I have nothing against dogs, but I don't like dog owners. And I'm offending my audience because it seems like in USA everybody is a dog owner. Because I've seen many instances like that. A dog would be attacking a kid or another dog, and the dog owner would just be like, I've seen smile on dog owners' faces. Forget about other dogs. His dog is attacking even a pit bull. How serious that is. That dog is attacking a kid, and I've seen the owners like this, standing like this, and they're smiling. And if you dare try to hit that dog, somebody, some third person, then that person who's just chilling like that immediately jumps up to save his dog. I've seen these maybe at least a dozen videos like that. That's what I was like, man, I don't like dog owners anymore. Yeah, DJ probably shouldn't have said that. Your opinion about Dennis' upcoming match? Don't say Sergey Kalinchenko because his hand and wrist is fucked up. S- Not so strong. I think his opponent can be Alex Kordecha, Georgi Svetkov. So you're saying Sergey is not strong enough to face Dennis? Because all of the guys you mentioned, they seem stronger than Sergey. So I'm assuming you're talking about Kalinichenko is not strong enough. But if his hand and wrist is fucked up, how is he going to face the Italian Frank Lamparelli? Because he's going to attack his hand and wrist. Satnam Singh would probably do well. He's huge. I'm not sure if he's huge. He's what, 75 kilos or 80 now? Maybe if he got bigger. I'd like to think a small percentage of dog owners gave their gave other dog owners a bad name. Yeah, whatever the case is. But that the human thing can be going too far, but I've certainly seen at least three examples of that thing too. But dog versus dog, if a dog is attacking another dog or another animal, you dare try to stop that dog owner will immediately jump into the situation to trying to stop you from stopping him killing that other animal. That according to me is like 50% of dog owners. What kind of people you're hanging out with, Pradeep? That would laugh at kids getting me. I've seen. I'm not hanging out with these people. I've seen those videos, many of those. If Sergei's press is weaker than Michael's press, Frank can stop it and win. But Michael didn't seem that strong around that time. Yeah, but that's a close match, anyways. If Kalinichenko can take Dave Chaffee's wrist in the third round, he's without a not Kalinichenko, Frank. I think he's without a doubt going to take Kalinichenko's wrist as well. Jinder Mahal left WWE. Never seen people like that, Pradeep. I have seen a lot of them, brother. A lot of them. But what I like as well is the small and old people can succeed in arm wrestling casuals. Is it though? Is it really the case though? Like small and old people can succeed in arm wrestling against only people, in my opinion, who are not strong. Because you're saying that arm wrestling, we have this, in my opinion, we have this kind of myth around the sport that it is for a sport of old men. You can be as strong as you are as strong when you are 55 as you are when you are 40. That's not the true. We're talking about the juiced up guys. And in other sports, the yeah, I can guess that not the entire body is required in arm wrestling. In other sports, you do need your entire body to work. But still, man, those sports have strict regulations or stricter regulations around drug abuse, PD usage. That's why you don't see 50-year-olds dominating there. And introduce drug testing in arm wrestling. The guys who are saying that, well, it's pretty easy to cheat drug testing anyways, watch them disappear first. Watch them disappear. Then I'll tell you how easy it is to cheat the drug tests. Blasting throughout the year, and if you're competing 4 times a year, then you have to stop using a month before that. Maybe I'm not sure. Then 4 months are gone. Just because you stopped for 4 months, you're going to go down for sure. And if you dare introduce random testing, like if you are a contracted athlete, you can be called anytime to test it. Watch all of those who are over 50 years old, all of them disappear from the top 10 rankings in their weight category. Not even a single one of them will remain. Then tell me if arm wrestling is the sport of old guys and you can still dominate when you're 60 years old, when you're 55 years old. Yeah, just take the example of Prudnik. Prudnik said he's not going to juice up anymore, and he started getting beat. He still won the Dadikian match, which I still don't know. I still don't know how Prudnik beat Dadikian. Man, that was insane. But he just left juice a month before that, so maybe he still had some effects going on because of years of usage. Babaye versus Irakli, MMT versus Devon. Maybe people who start training regularly are ungodly strong. I agree, the hand and wrist, the tendon strength part, it is there. But you won't be an arm wrestling champion in your category when you're like 48 years old if you're natural. Like the strength will go down, the muscle mass will go down, just like any other sport. I know the least athleticism, the least movement, agility of the joints is required in arm wrestling compared to other sports. So maybe if the age cap, realistically speaking, is 35 years, in 30 years in other sports, in some it can be 35, in arm wrestling maybe it can be 40, 42, 45. But forget after that. It's not going to happen. You're not going to get any stronger. So yeah, arm wrestling is a sport for old guys, but only because there is no drug testing here. 99.9% of old small people in the world cannot beat Auden Larrett. Yeah, I would agree. Of course, I would agree to this. 99.9% of any people cannot beat Auden Larrett. What are you talking about? You can put another 9 after that, and maybe even another 9, and Auden will beat that many people in this world. Prudnik is growing his beard again. I just saw Prudnik's video today. I was like, man, looks like he's arm wrestling left-handed. Looks like my man is on the juice once again. He's back on it. Let's tell the truth that in India now there is not that much potential for arm wrestling or strength sports because of height genetics. I'm not talking majority, but average height is low. Yeah, average height is for sure low. In the super heavyweight, the genetics, it is going to be difficult, man. It is going to be difficult. Exceptions can be there, like a 6 foot guy marries a 5'10" woman, then their kid is like 6'3", he also marries a tall woman. So after maybe 3 4 5 generations they can create a a boy who's like 6'5", lean, weighing 105 115 kilos. Maybe they can create that, but that's going to take a long time, and I've not really seen those kind of couples now. Plus they need to have their strength genetics as well. Just size genetics won't do the thing. That's the thing that people don't think about. And I'm not really sure if you can transfer the strength genetics into your child. So if you are born weak, but then with dedication, with hard work, with training, from age 10 to 25 you got really strong, are you going to transfer that strength into your offspring? Like, you're for sure going to transfer your height, your body structure, but can you transfer your strength into your offsprings? Maybe a little bit, but I don't think that much. So yeah, genetics in the super heavy division especially, it is going to be a problem. Just look at me, man. As soon as I'm almost 5'11". I say almost because in the morning I am 5'11", and if I measure my height right now, it would be 5'10" and a half, maybe a millimeter less than that. 5'10" and a half it will be. Morning I'm 5'11", sometimes a little bit more than that. So that's why I say I'm almost 5'11". And as soon as I weighed about 90 kilos, I started seeing stretch marks everywhere, even in my stomach, my fat belly. I saw some stretch marks, and chest, I got stretch marks as soon as I was like 80 kilos. So that tells you what kind of bone structure I have. Very small. So even 80 kilos is like, my body is giving me symptoms, not symptoms, signals that it's too much for you, boy. Just trim down a little bit. So yeah, genetics is definitely a problem. Who's the number one arm wrestler in India? And look at my wrist. Even in my country, when I go to arm wrestling events, I used to go or just to watch maybe. I saw that the 60 kg guys have bigger wrists than me. All of them, not just one, all of them. The ability to respond and become a beast can be passed on in genes, as if they go that round. Arm wrestling. I'm taller in the morning. Everybody's taller in the morning, bro. There's no science. Yeah, that is science, like, but common sense science. Arm wrestling is tense sport, but there is a speed, reaction, explosivity, endurance, agility that what similar people you have edge in. Coupled with that, good strength technique. Yeah, I assume Devon not only uses more juice. Yes, and I will tell you which side of the parent you'll get your body from. It's the mother that gives you body potential. So, guys, we started this live stream just to discuss what Travis Bagent had to say in his second similar comment about there being no arm wrestling fans. We discussed some potentials. Can it be true? Like I gave my own example. Maybe it is true for me. And one of my colleagues also told me that you're here on YouTube because you didn't succeed in competition. And I did compete a couple of times, 2019 and 2020. Won a few matches, lost a few matches. So yeah, obviously I wasn't expecting to win the tournament or anything, so I don't know if I could have been at a good level if I kept training or not. But I would say in major sports, most of the guys, like football fans, they've played football at some point of time in their life, and if they kept on winning even in their local tournaments or friendly games, would they have then stopped playing that game if it wasn't for injury? But I think if they were not injured and they kept on winning, maybe they could have kept on playing. Like the normal family responsibilities like marriage, children, job, they those things may not have stopped that guy. So yeah, it's a thing that we can try to shed more light on. But yeah, some point, some logic. I started off with like 60-70% supporting Travis Bagent on this argument, but when I see that I'm not in the majority here. Most people are still saying that nope, that's not that how it works. So maybe I'm like 50-50 now on this subject. Height is the potential for an arm wrestler or any strength sport. Perfect is for sure 6'3", 6'6". Okay. Sometimes a son can be the clone of his dad, height wise, weight, looks, etc. Yeah. Other times just look like men on the mom's side. Pradeep, in which state do you live in? Right now I'm in Uttar Pradesh. Depends on the time when you ask me, or the day, not the time. It was good to see Sandris demolished by Rustam considering the size difference. The example I'll give you is Ronnie. Search up his mother and you'll see how jacked she is. I just saw a reel about her a couple of maybe yesterday. Yeah, I've seen her. Thank you guys for joining this stream. You guys are awesome. The stream went kind of okay. I still had my microphone muted, which auto muted itself for the first 30 seconds. Otherwise, the stream was perfect. Thank you guys. Please, somebody, if you can mention in the regular comments, not in the chat, that the audio starts at 30 seconds so that a couple of impatient guys do not leave and they actually stay. Pradeep, okay. Thanks, Pradeep. Game of Arms, Triple A, Levan Saginashvili from the future, Atlantis. Thank you guys. You guys are awesome. Bye. I've recorded a few videos. I've sent them to my brother, two of them. One of them will be uploaded today and one tomorrow, I guess.